In the magnificent halls of ancient Persia, where empires rose and fell on the whims of kings, a young orphan girl named Esther held a secret that could shatter thrones. Raised by her wise uncle Mordecai in the shadows of exile, she was thrust into a deadly game of beauty, betrayal, and bravery. When the mighty king Ahasuerus sought a new queen, but as favor bloomed in the royal gaze, a venomous plot brewed in the heart of a villain, threatening to engulf an entire people in flames. What if one woman's courage could rewrite destiny? This is the dramatic tale of courage hidden behind grace, loyalty tested by fear, and one woman's quiet resolve turning the wheels of destiny against a villain's hatred. Long ago, in the days when the Persian Empire stretched from the dusty borders of India to the distant lands of Kush, King Ahasuerus, known to history as Xerxes, sat upon his throne in the citadel of Susa. He ruled over 127 provinces, a vast realm of wealth, armies, and splendor. In the third year of his reign, the king decided to display the glory of his kingdom. For 180 days, he feasted his nobles, princes, and officials, parading the riches of Persia and Media before them. Tapestries of purple and gold, vessels of silver and crystal, and wines poured without restraint. When those days ended, he held a 7-day banquet for all the people in Susa, from the greatest to the least. In the royal gardens, white curtains hung from silver rods, marble pillars rose amid beds of roses and lilies, and fountains flowed with wine. Queen Vashti, adorned in her crown and royal robes, presided over a separate feast for the women in the palace. On the 7th day, when the king's heart was merry with wine, he commanded his eunuchs to bring Vashti before the assembly. He wished to display her beauty to the princes and nobles, for she was renowned as the fairest in the land. But Vashti refused. She would not come at the king's word. Fury burned in Ahasuerus' chest. Never had a queen defied him so publicly. He summoned his wise men, those who knew the laws and customs of the empire. Memucan spoke for them all. Vashti has wronged not only the king, but every husband in the realm. If she escapes punishment, women everywhere will despise their husbands. They advised that Vashti be deposed forever, her royal position given to another, and a decree sent throughout the provinces. Every man should be master in his own house. The king, sobered by their counsel, agreed. Letters were dispatched in every language of the empire, sealed with the royal ring. Vashti vanished from the throne, her name erased from the annals of queens. Months passed, and the king's anger cooled. His advisors urged him to seek a new queen. Beautiful young virgins were gathered from every province and brought to the harem in Susa, placed under the care of Haggai, the king's eunuch in charge of the women. Each received 12 months of beauty treatments, 6 months with oil of myrrh, 6 with perfumes and cosmetics, before being presented to the king. Among them was a young woman named Hadassah, but known in the palace as Esther. She was an orphan, her father Abihail and mother long dead. Her cousin Mordecai, a Benjamite descended from the exiles carried away with Jeconiah, had raised her as his own daughter in the Jewish quarter of Susa. Mordecai sat daily at the king's gate, a position that allowed him to overhear the whispers of the court. When Esther was taken to the harem, Mordecai warned her, "Reveal nothing of your people or your kindred." Esther obeyed, winning the favor of everyone who saw her. Haggai was especially pleased. He gave her the best apartments, the choicest foods, 7 special attendants, and the finest portions of the beauty preparations. When her turn came to go to the king, she asked for nothing beyond what Haggai advised, for she trusted his wisdom. The day arrived. Esther entered the king's presence, and all who saw her marveled. Ahasuerus loved her more than any other. He placed the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. To celebrate, he held a great banquet, Esther's banquet, declared a holiday throughout the provinces, and distributed generous gifts. Yet even in her triumph, Esther kept her secret. Mordecai continued his vigil at the gate, watching over her from afar. One day, Mordecai overheard two of the king's officers, Bigthan and Teresh, plotting to assassinate Ahasuerus. He sent word to Esther, who told the king in Mordecai's name. The matter was investigated, the conspirators found guilty, and both were hanged on the gallows. The deed was recorded in the book of the Chronicles before the king, but no reward was given to Mordecai. Not yet. After these events, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, son of Hammedatha, an Agagite, above all the other nobles. He gave him a seat of honor higher than all the princes, and commanded that everyone bow and pay homage to Haman whenever he passed through the gate. All obeyed, except Mordecai. Day after day, as Haman strode past, Mordecai stood erect, refusing to kneel. The other officials warned him, but he replied simply that he was a Jew, and Jews bowed to no man in such a way. Haman noticed. At first, he controlled his rage, but when he learned Mordecai's people, his anger turned to cold hatred. One man's defiance was not enough. He would destroy an entire nation. Haman cast lots, the pur, to determine the day for his vengeance. The lot fell on the 13th day of the 12th month, Adar. Then he approached the king. "There is a certain people scattered among the provinces," Haman said, "whose laws differ from every other people. They do not keep the king's laws. It is not to the king's profit to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued for their destruction. I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the treasury." Ahasuerus, trusting his favorite, removed the signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman. "Do as you please with the people," he said. "The silver is yours." On the 13th day of the first month, scribes were summoned. In the name of Ahasuerus and sealed with the royal ring, letters went out to every province. On the 13th of Adar, all Jews, young and old, women and children, were to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated, their goods plundered. Couriers rode out on swift horses. In Susa, the city itself was thrown into confusion. Mordecai tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went through the streets crying bitterly. Jews everywhere fasted, wept, and lamented. Esther's maids told her of Mordecai's mourning. She sent him clothes, but he refused them. Through Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs assigned to her, Mordecai sent back the full text of the decree and urged her, "Go to the king and plead for your people." Esther replied in anguish, "All know that anyone who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned faces death, unless the king extends the golden scepter. I have not been called for 30 days." Mordecai's answer cut deep. "Do not think you will escape in the palace while the rest perish. If you remain silent now, relief and deliverance will arise from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. Who knows whether you have come to royal dignity for such a time as this?" Esther sent word, "Gather all the Jews in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will do the same. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." On the 3rd day, Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court, facing the king's hall. Ahasuerus sat on his throne, the golden scepter in his hand. When he saw Esther standing there, his heart softened. He extended the scepter. She approached and touched its tip. "What is it, Queen Esther?" he asked. What is your request? Even to half the kingdom, it will be granted. Esther replied softly, If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet I have prepared. The king commanded Haman to hurry. At the banquet, as wine flowed, Ahasuerus asked again, What is your petition? It shall be granted. Esther said, If I have found favor, let the king and Haman come tomorrow to another banquet I will prepare. Then I will answer. Haman left joyful, until he saw Mordecai at the gate, still refusing to bow. Rage flared anew. At home, he boasted to his wife Zeresh and friends of his honors, but complained, All this avails me nothing while I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the gate. Zeresh suggested, Build a gallows 50 cubits high. Tomorrow ask the king to hang Mordecai, then go merrily to the banquet. Haman approved and ordered the gallows built. That night, the king could not sleep. He commanded the book of Chronicles be read. There he heard of Mordecai's service in exposing the assassins, and no reward given. The next morning, Haman arrived early to request Mordecai's execution. The king asked, What should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman, thinking of himself, described royal robes, a horse from the king's stable with a crest, and a proclamation through the city square. Do so for Mordecai the Jew, the king commanded. Leave out nothing. Haman obeyed, leading Mordecai through Susa on the king's horse, proclaiming, This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor. Then he returned home in mourning, his head covered. At Esther's second banquet, the king asked once more, What is your request, Queen Esther? Trembling, Esther spoke. If I have found favor, let my life be granted me and my people. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated. Ahasuerus' face darkened. Who is he? Where is the man who dared such a thing? The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman, Esther declared. Terror seized Haman. He begged for mercy at Esther's feet. The king, in fury, rose and went to the garden. When he returned, Haman had fallen upon the couch where Esther reclined. The king roared, Will he assault the queen in my own house? Servants covered Haman's face. Harbona spoke. Haman built a gallows for Mordecai, who saved the king. It stands at his house, 50 cubits high. Hang him on it, the king ordered. Haman was impaled. The king's wrath subsided. That day, Ahasuerus gave Haman's estate to Esther. Mordecai received the signet ring. Esther pleaded for her people. Since Persian law could not revoke a sealed decree, the king allowed a new edict. Jews could assemble, defend themselves, destroy their attackers, and take spoils on Adar 13. Mordecai wrote the letters, sealed them with the ring, and sent them by swift couriers. In Susa, Mordecai emerged in royal blue and white, a golden crown and purple robe. The city rejoiced. Many feared the Jews and joined them. On Adar 13, the Jews struck their enemies. In Susa, 500 fell, including Haman's 10 sons. The next day, 300 more. Across the provinces, 75,000 perished. But the Jews took no plunder. They rested on Adar 14 and 15, feasting and rejoicing.
We are safe now.
Mordecai and Esther established Purim, days of feasting, sending gifts of food, giving charity, and reading the scroll annually. Thus, the Jews were delivered, and the memory of Esther's courage and Mordecai's faithfulness lived on. Esther showed unshakable faith and courage, and this led to their victory. I urge us to be like Esther, going to God first before man, because He alone can do it. Now, like this video, subscribe to get notified when another one drops, and share this video with someone who needs it. God bless you.